Rip Wilson.
Hello, Molly.
So, a big pressure on the economy that we're not really talking about is the Straits. And
Right.
Donald Trump said the Straits of Hormuz had nothing to do with us because we don't get oil and gas there. But what he doesn't understand is that oil is fungible. And so, in fact, if oil is cut from somewhere else, it becomes more expensive other
Ding,
places.
ding, ding.
Discuss.
Look, it's a global market. It's priced globally, not locally.
Right.
If oil was priced like, if oil was priced like here's what West Texas sweet is, and no other factors obtained, maybe we would not have this economic calamity staring us in the ass of the
Correct.
straits. But we do. That's part of what should scare people about the economy right now, but it ain't the only part.
Yeah. So,
We've got a lot of stuff going wrong. I mean, the last 24 hours, there have been stories about, record farm bankruptcies.
right.
Not great.
Not great.
Nobody should be happy about that.
You never want to break records with bankruptcies.
Yeah, no, that's all often bad. You've got
Yes. You wanna
a
break records with, like, people
jobs.
saving money. Yeah,
Right.
jobs.
You
Right,
don't want the
exactly.
record to be highest credit card debt in American history.
Not good.
Not really,
Not great.
not where you wanna have your administration's, bread buttered if you're looking to save your ass in the midterm elections. And
Right.
I think we've gotten to the point where where people the yes, Donald Trump is a terrible, horrible, no good president in a million different ways. But that economic failure mode that we've seen over and over and over and over and over again of promising a golden age and people get screwed.
Right.
The war has tariffs hurt it, tariffs made it bad. The war put it in overdrive.
Right. Right.
And ahead of us in the next week, we have a lot of other economic statistics coming in about job growth, about
Right.
wages, about about ag
Manufacturing.
and manufacturing statistics, and it's all predicated right now on the assumption it's gonna be not only bad, but truly, truly, terribly, terribly bad.
If you pull back to 2017 and Donald Trump's, like, tax cut bonanza,
Right.
Trump has been for a decade promising, the American people a populist message and just screwing them, right?
Yep.
Like, even in 2016, he was like, "I am the president for the forgotten." Remember? "I'm the president for the forgotten men and
A
women
100%. And you know what, Molly?
of
All of
the
us knew
S&P."
all of us knew it was
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah,
And all of us knew it was a lie. But
right.
for Trump, it was the core of his base. And the reason we're seeing that Trump's approval on the economy now, folks, and there's a lot of other stories out there of why his numbers are down, but the economy drives it all. There
Yeah,
was a belief among MAGA that Donald Trump was a businessman, a negotiator, a wheeler dealer for them at long last, somebody on their side
mhm.
at long last. And right now, we are entering into a an economic red zone that that no one, even in their most pessimistic view of Trump's ability to screw up the economy,
Yeah,
had a year ago. They're like, "Yeah, he could screw it up, and these tariffs might not be great, but once we pull away from everything will recover." It hasn't, and it won't. And now this war has really screwed farmers. There is not right now. Farmers have run out of fertilizer in many parts of the country.
right. Because a fifth of all fertilizer
Right
goes through
through
the
the
Straits.
straits. Yeah.
But I also think that when we talk about gasoline, it's not a little more expensive. So it's double the price since Biden, but it's even up a dollar in like 6 weeks. I mean, it's just
Oh
wild.
yeah. Right. It's like the acceleration of the curve is going almost vertical now, and
Yeah.
nothing that's happening in the Middle East is making this better.
No.
It is
And
getting
it's also
worse.
what I think is the worst part of Donald Trump's pulling back his son-in-law and his best friend, who, by the way, should not be negotiating peace in the Middle East to begin with, is that he's pulling them back because the Iranians are in such crisis that they don't know, they're fighting with each other about a negotiation. So you have a country that has is holding the Straits hostage,
Mhm.
does not have a plan, and cannot negotiate with us a plan.
Well, and that's also because the Iranians have figured out that Kushner and Witkoff talked to Trump, But the rest of the American diplomatic mechanism talks to Rubio, some of
Yeah.
it talks to Vance. They don't know who
Yeah.
they're dealing with.
Yeah.
And because they don't know who they're dealing with, we're going to continue this. And they know something that MAGA doesn't know. Trump desperately does not want to start the war up again as a shooting war.
No.
He knows how bad it gets for him if he does that. He
Yeah. It's
knows.
already bad.
Right, he look, I talked to a Republican. I saw a Republican friend of mine this weekend up in DC who said to me, "Oh, yeah, the Senate's gone. Oh, it's done." I'm like, "Really?" He's like,
And what
"Everything's collapsing. If he would just shut the fuck up, we might be able to pull out the Senate." I'm like, "What do you think the chances are of Donald Trump shutting the fuck up, brother?" 0. Buckus.
what Senate seats are they worried about?
Well, they're now increasingly worried about Texas because they
Mm.
recognize that Paxton drives away suburban Republican women and Talarico attracts them.
Yeah.
They have written off North Carolina completely. I
Yeah.
mean, like they're gonna they've got a head fake amount of money they're still saying they're gonna spend there, but I'm told it's
Yeah.
gone.
And
Um,
North Carolina, important data point, that is a popular Senator Cooper,
yeah,
who a popular governor who
governor,
is running
governor,
for Senate,
right?
who's won wide. You
No, he
could not pick
right, and the
a
guy is
better Senate
he's a
candidate.
classic North Carolina common sense
Yeah.
Democrat. Great all the way around. They are going to spend a lot of money now in Alaska because it's cheap and they're
And
very,
also
very
because Mary Parada is
yeah.
like 9 points ahead
She's
or something.
blowing Sullivan out of the water. They
Yeah.
can't figure out why he can't get up for air anymore. They've written off their play in Georgia, and the last one that they're gonna go and defend to the end is Maine.
Yeah.
And they're gonna try to do the, Graham Plattner is a Nazi, 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 and Janet Mills is too old. They're gonna figure out which one, makes it through the gate.
It's not gonna
Um,
be Mills.
it's not gonna be Mills, it's gonna be Plattner. Again, Maine is a problematic state because the Boston media market still touches Southern Maine. They don't have any easy wins right now.
Also, I would add that I'd be interested to see Republicans run anti-Nazi. I mean, the guy's not a Nazi, obviously, but
Right.
like it's a hard situation for them to
If a
be.
party with Jack Posobiec and Cernovich and Spencer in it starts running anti-Nazi ads, I don't know what world we live in.
Yeah, I'm a little worried that they can't pull that off, you know.
Eee.
But I think it's a good point that we're going into the summer at the time when people travel. Plane tickets are going to be more
Oh,
expensive,
not not not
right?
not more expensive. If you wanna think about the price of automobile gas going up, the price of jet fuel, which is a form of diesel fuel, has tripled in the
Yeah,
last
it's more
month.
expensive than gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about $7 a gallon now in some places.
Why
And,
is that, Rick?
just the refining capacity problem.
Okay.
We just don't have the capacity to get enough of it, brewed through the system. Because anything that was gonna be done overseas is already that's no longer working because of Hormuz. But you're right, this summer is coming. People are not gonna wanna drive. They're scared people are scared to death economically. Economic pessimism right now looks like 2008
Yeah.
and 1973. I'm old enough to remember 1973 when I was 10. Like, I can remember people talking about inflation when I was a little kid, how bad it was and how scary it was.
Yeah, as someone who was -5 back
Yeah,
then,
I know.
thank you very much. It's a really good point though about inflation. And again, there is this pretty interesting theory that Donald Trump is Jimmy Carter.
Mhm. And I don't mean folks in the nice old man going to build houses way. I
No.
mean in terms of he was a president who was at first considered a change agent, who then got involved in a Iranian debacle with the hostages that he could
Right.
not resolve no matter how hard he
Right.
tried, and with an economy that was engaged in stagflation. Low growth and high
Mhm.
inflation is a bad, bad place for Americans to be. And
Yeah.
and also, a guy who had people the gas price problem was so bad then, we were rationing fuel for people, folks. You had
Which
to
in
have
America,
odd and even license plates. In Florida, the way they did it was if your license plate ended in an odd number, you could go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, even number Tuesday, Thursday, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Um, Not great.
Not great. So yesterday, you and I we were in DC. We were neither of us were at this dinner, though
No.
both of us were at other things around it. But what we saw again was a president who, scary stuff and some security lapses. And there's a real question of whether or not the White House Correspondents' Dinner is a good use of anyone's time, I think.
Look, I think the scholarship is commendable.
Right.
I think that the dinner itself has had an identity crisis for the last 10 years.
50? I'm sorry. Yeah, go on.
I'm being extremely generous about this.
Right.
And in the era of Trump, he doesn't ever go. He hates it. He shits on it. Every Republican is like, no one should ever go to that until Trump decided to go to that, and it was a big deal.
Yeah.
There was an incident, as everybody knows by now. I think this is going to end up in that same weird bucket that Butler fell into, where they're talking about it right now to change the subject of everything else,
Right.
but everything else is still real and will be there every single day.
Right.
And this will fall off the headlines because Trump can't stop himself from making it fall off the headlines. He will
But
talk about
also
other shit and he can't help himself. He's already like making this about the ballroom instead of about security. Okay. You want to talk about
but
the
it
ballroom
should
that Americans fucking hate and don't want to do?
right.
Knock yourself out, champ.
Well, then let's have ballrooms for all the schools. Let's have ballrooms for all the churches.
Sure.
Let's have ballrooms, or we could just do gun control. I know not your favorite topic, but I'm just saying, like, clearly is a country where, like, the reason that everyone was safe was because they had all of this security. So if we want to live in a country where we don't have to have security like that, that would mean
Look,
ballrooms for everyone.
look. One of the things that other presidents have faced in the past is the threat of assassination. All of them
Right,
have.
for sure.
Okay,
For sure,
and
for
that is a
sure.
bipartisan thing. And there are three categories of potential presidential assassins: hardcore ideologues on the left or the right. Number category one. That's the
Right.
smallest category.
Right.
Okay, smallest. Crazy people. That's probably 2/3 of this of the load here.
Right.
I don't know enough about this guy yet to know which category he falls into. Of course, the Republicans want you to think he was directly sent there by George Soros,
Right, right,
and
right.
because that's their big spin. And the final category is people who are presidential stalkers, like when Ford that was anyway. That's another tiny category, but that
Right.
but all this resolved instantly down to what? The ballroom. That's why I need a ballroom.
Right.
All presidents
Right.
wanted a ballroom. It's bullshit. Barack Obama
Right.
had 15 assassination plots against him.
Yeah.
He didn't
But
ask
it's
for
also
ballroom.
right.
And the other thing, Molly, Donald Trump's like, "I'm gonna go to UFC matches. I'm gonna go to football games. I'm gonna go to all these other public events," and sudden those places are fine, but
Right.
everything else has to be in the magical ballroom. I think actually it was a real tell as to the fact that they know this guy didn't even get close to them, and that's a fact. He
Right.
was
And
2
he was a
floors
floor
up
away.
and
Yeah.
2 floors and 800 feet away.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
they know it's bullshit. You saw the staff all grinning in the press room last night. Ah, fuck that.
I mean, I would just say this, which is that this is a country where the guns are a real fucking problem, and the fact that that's not the number one thing we're thinking about is I think real. And then the other thing I would say is that on the ballroom situation, like, he's already mid renovation with the ballroom, cannot stop talking about it, wildly unpopular. And
Wildly.
I mean, just could not be more unpopular. But also, I have to say, like, I find the whole thing really upsetting because it also does speak to the fact that, like, we journalists should not be hanging out with politicians unless we're reporting on them. And the whole optics of it. And what you see, I mean, what we've seen from this is people are really angry, right?
Sure.
They feel really angry. They feel like their politicians are not delivering for them. And they feel like their media are too close and cozy with their politicians. And so here's an event that's like, look, we're close and cozy with your politicians and we're all dressed up. Like, it's just so self-aggrandizing and like, do the scholarships, but don't do the fucking parties.
I think everybody's human. Okay. Everybody likes to socialize, everybody likes a party, all that stuff. I think the bigger problem is not the White House Correspondents' Dinner every year. It's the increasing pressure on all media from people who own the media.
Right.
You know, CBS had 15 tables there last night
Yeah.
because they're now owned by Trump super fans, the
Right.
Ellisons. And, Barry Weiss was the queen of every party this week because she held a party at with the White House for Paramount and the new ownership group that owns CBS. All of these people in the ownership space are the ones who actually have started to make everybody pull their punches. The Washington Post is a shadow of its former self when it comes to
Mhm.
covering the White House. They're
Yeah.
not aggressive at all. They're like, and look, there are some great reporters still at the Post, don't mistake me.
Right.
But
I
the
mean, their
editorial
editorial
but
page
their
is
editorial
brainworms.
their editorial page and their managing
Like,
editor is a
yeah.
guy who clearly does not want them covering Donald Trump. You look at the two competing headlines from last week. One of them from Texas, like, "Oh, the Texas Democrat freakout over redistricting."
Right.
And then when Virginia happens, they their headline is Democrats destroy democracy, whatever it was. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I think there's a bigger problem with journalism, and it's wanting to maintain access at the White House and with the administration, and it's corporate ownership pulling punches. I think that is a bigger problem than people get playing dress up one night a year.
So those are both editorials on the editorial page, and I would argue, and I say this as someone who writes editorials, that editorials are a bigger problem than reporting. And yes, corporate ownership is a real problem, but like you and I both sometimes write on Substack, and Substack does not have much reporting. It has a lot of hot
Sure.
takes. And so while hot takes are great, you can't find the corruption, you can't root it out without the reporting. And so, like, ultimately, the way we got here was a lack of media literacy, people not seeing that reporting and editorial is totally different.
We have devalued, and this is partly. And look, I hate doing both sidesism, but I'm gonna do a little bit of both sidesism right now. It is partly because the right has waged a 50-year campaign
Mhm.
to
For sure,
discredit
for sure.
all reporting against it.
And
They
it's
they they
worked.
have it has absolutely worked, Molly. It has absolutely worked. You go back and read the Powell memo from 1971, future Justice Powell writes a memo about how conservatives
Yeah.
build their own ecosystem of media.
Yep.
They have to build their own outlets, newspapers, radios, all at the time, that was the technology, right? They did it. And what was the main thing that Fox and talk radio have done? It has been to say, anything the mainstream media tells you is a lie. So we can have the
Right.
country that's like, it's all a lie. You can catch Donald Trump taking a briefcase full of cash. They won't.
Mhm.
It will never penetrate that bubble. And on the more progressive and liberal side, they see media losing its ability to change the narrative and change outcomes in the public space. And so they sort of walked away from it, made it less profitable,
Yeah.
made it less viable. And look, I think the structural problems are a lot bigger than one charity dinner. And I think in this era, the access media problem, particularly with this White House,
Right.
has
Right,
been
for
something that
sure.
you cannot deny is is making people less trusting in the media.
But I also think people are just furious, and that is
Yeah.
not, I mean, you and I see that we get the emails, we see the stuff, people are fucking mad, and they're gonna stay that way, and I don't know what the answer is. Rick Wilson,
Molly Fast.
come back.
You know it.